Okay, thank you. My sister, Jessica Alva, she was murdered in 2019. She was attacked by her boyfriend on April 2nd, 2019, and she eventually died from her injuries on April 6th. They classified it in the end as a suicide, and we know that that's not true. She was a loving mother. She had 6 kids. She had a beautiful life that she made here in San Francisco. And in like 6 weeks, this man came and destroyed it. And there was a lot of trauma to my sister's body, evidence clearly of a terrible fight, and abuse, and the markings of strangulation. The story that came out from the people that were in her house absolutely did not match what I saw and what my family saw. And nobody could explain to us what had happened. When she got to the hospital, they were treating her as an attempted hanging, because that's what the people in the house said. And that was obviously not true. I'm grateful for the one person's actions that did call us. She called me around 5 a.m. on April 2nd and said that my sister had tried to hang herself and that she was in the hospital in the emergency room. And at least that gave us the opportunity to come down and see her and make our way and bring her children. So for that, I'm grateful. I am. I would be grateful to have the truth and justice for my sister. But that's just an ongoing battle, because we're not going to give up. The police have my sister's case open but inactive. So as far as I can see, there's no movement on it. And it kind of jams us up to really ask for a lot of things, because they'll say it's still open whenever questions are raised about it, or people try to look at the case. The reason they keep it open, I believe, is so that people can't contest what's the lies that are in that case, and cause more concern for a deeper investigation, which the message is clear they clearly don't want to do. The term Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, it stands for everything that I am. I am a woman, I am a mother, I am a daughter, I am a niece, I'm an auntie, I'm a granddaughter, and one day I'll be a grandmother. Actually, through my sister, I am a grandmother. She loved babies, and she would have had her first grandchild last December. And it's for Indigenous people, all of our ancestors that came before us is who we are and what we will be. We are who they prayed for and who they've sacrificed for. In my sister's case, things were done wrong from the very start. They, stigmatized her, I believe, as, another low-income housing, in the Bayview, oh, on food stamps or whatever the case was. Is this somebody on welfare? Is this somebody who is a recovering addict? Is this somebody who has a past? All these things in the system start to devalue somebody's life, which is not okay. There was no crime scene investigation done. It was like the paramedics and the emergency response team came and just took my sister's body out of her house, out of her home, and didn't ask a single question. Didn't ask who was on the lease, why all these people were here. Are these her children? And they left them alone with strangers. They didn't follow the protocols that I know them to have. And after that, she's, as she's in the hospital, she's classified as a different race than she is. The investigators are not asking questions to the right people. They're not following up. It's just like, oh, check mark these stigmas and we're out. It's just another one. And at what point does that overweigh the value of her life as a sister, as a mother, as a daughter, as a friend, a granddaughter? I think that the message is clear when things like that happen. Again, it's a direct message to say, my life doesn't hold as much value as yours. You do not matter. You do not deserve justice. The people around you in your life don't matter, and they don't deserve justice or peace. From peace, you get healing. Who doesn't deserve that when they lose someone? And then you have people that come out and are lying about their situations and using hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in resources that could be going to somebody who is actually murdered. Not just a missing person, but somebody who's already tragically lost their life. There's no resources to that? How could, if they came down here, how could they look me in the eye and tell me that? And see this pain and justify something like that? Let alone if they were to say that to her children. Why should they deserve that? I think a way to break that down is to put them in your shoes. If you had your mother tragically murdered the way that our women have been murdered, you've had women that were pregnant, had their babies cut out of their stomachs, been beaten with blatant disregard for their lives and thrown into garbage cans, dumpsters, burial sites, mountains, deserts, and just left like trash. How would you feel if somebody did that to your mother, to your sister? And then we talk about the correlation between so-called America and our ancestors whose bones it's built upon, and how this genocide has been happening since the beginning of the time that the colonizers stepped foot on our land. There's still no justice there. And these are uncomfortable conversations that don't just go away because you don't want to have them. We're still here, and we still matter. The thing is, this generational trauma builds up warriors, and things like this activate that DNA in us, you know. And what's meant to tear us apart only makes us stronger together. I wouldn't say that, I mean, any progress is good progress from what we've had, but there's also like a shadow of, you can't just create healing. You must address the trauma that needs the healing. So recognition and awareness of Indigenous people, and that they matter and they're still here, is like first and foremost. Then we talk about how, you know, the genocide and the disregard of our people has been ongoing. I love the fact that, you know, today we have so much awareness for Native American Heritage Month, right? And a lot of doors are now open. And when it comes to like education and awareness, there's been a lot of trauma for us to be willing to reach out and create that as well. But sometimes people just need to be, you know, met where they're at and led across the bridge. You know, we can't mend a basket if we don't even know it's broken. Equality, equity, you know, there would be no difference in the response between a middle-aged white woman that is living the classic, you know, life of suburban life and kids at home and no record and nobody understands why this happened to her, versus somebody who has a past, colorful or not. Why are they treated differently? You should see a life as a life, and a mother as a mother, and somebody missing as someone missing, somebody murdered as somebody murdered. Who decided whose value or whose life has more value? When did I become less than? When did my sister become less than? At what point? I think that if we had the same resources that were just given to us without any questions, and telling us, showing us that we matter, that would be a start. My sister's case hit so, well, I mean, obviously she's my sister, but it impacted me more because I had my own DV case 2 years prior to hers. And in my case, I was also strangled by my partner. And it was hard for me to go against the way I had been conditioned by society, to not call the police, to not press charges, to not do all of these things. But my children were in the house. And the hard thing is to do what's right. And so when I did all these things, the response from the police department was, oh, okay, we're gonna investigate and handle everything and we'll get back to you. A couple weeks go by and I haven't heard anything. I'm calling and checking in. Months go by, I'm calling and checking in. And again, the message to me was when I found out that they had never even interviewed this person. They had never arrested this person. There was no justice for me or my children. That was a clear message to me that said, me and my children don't matter. We don't deserve any justice. We're not even going to look into it. I went through my lowest of lows. You know, I did the human thing to question everything and why. If our incidences are so similar, you know, why her? Why not me? You know, why? I could think of a million reasons why I would rather have it have been me than her. It had to happen to the kinder one and the sweeter one and the more forgiving one. And I tore myself apart about it, you know, and I had to seek healing because it brought up everything for me through our whole childhood and all of our past and growing up. Thankfully, I went to Friendship House and I got to reground myself in tradition and ceremony and address everything that's happened. The tough things, you know, and make sense of things that don't make sense. I just, I get to be the person that I was always meant to be today. And I get to carry her with me every single day. She's not gone. And she's not forgotten. And I get to tap into the pain and the frustration and the anger and the resentments and flip it. And I get to use this as a weapon to fight for her justice, to fight for all of our missing and murdered Indigenous relatives and all their children and their families. Because at the end of it, it's not just justice that I want for her. It's the justice that I want for all of our people and their families to be able to sleep at night, for their children to not grow up with lies. I think about if her children get older and they want to know about their mom and they look her up, and if they see these lies that she chose to leave this world, what does that do to them? What does it do to the value that they hold on their own life? Questions that it will raise. Did my mom leave me? No, she would have never, ever, ever left her children. No child deserves that. I think that the man who did this to my sister, I hope that the courts find him and the investigation is done and that he gets what he deserves. However, I know in my heart that that's not something that I can hold on to with resentment. Creator will find his way to pay out the necessary justice. That's not in my hands. It's something that only Creator can do. And I believe that. And I hope that he understands the impact that he's had on not just taking her life, but he took 6 children's mother. He took an auntie. He took a sister. He took a daughter, a granddaughter. His mistake was that he thought that he was taking somebody who wasn't loved and who didn't have a family. And he was wrong. And we will never, ever give up. We will fight till the end.